Master Forger Tara here. I've got my other hat on today. I'm usually just the paper snob, but today I am Master Forger Tara, and I am creating a couple of forgeries for my counterfeit kit this month. I am the host of the blog for Counterfeit Kit Challenge blog for March, and I chose a gorgeous kit from Coco Daisy for us to use as inspiration to curate a like kit from our own stash. No purchase necessary. So what I'm doing is I am counterfeiting some papers. So let's start with this one. The original looks kind of like this. Let me pop that up. The first paper that I'm forging right now is on the bottom row in that set of photos, the third from the left. It's the one that says create in kind of a light colored font along the left hand side of the paper. What I'm doing here is I'm cutting down some papers from Vicky Bouton's print shop. These are from the paper pad, and there's a bunch of wood grain in here and some other solid-ish papers, and I'm using those to create this paper. They're not quite the same color as the original one is, but for me it's close enough. And I initially cut all of these papers into 1 3/4 of an inch strips. I put down the dark blue one first onto the bottom, and then I put the red one on the top so that I would have a good idea of where everything was going to end up. It looks like I lost my red one, or maybe I didn't cut it. There it is. So I'm going to put that one up at the top, and then I'm going to use the other strips to fill in. The original paper has 7 strips in kind of a rainbow color. Again, the colors are a little different than mine. Mine matches my personal kit better. Here's where I figure out that 1 3/4 of an inch is too wide. So if you are going to recreate this, I would recommend that you cut them all 1.5 inches first. Since I've already glued down the top and the bottom one, I am going to leave those, and I'm just going to cut off 1/4 of an inch off each of the rest of the strips, and then I'm just going to kind of layer those in here. Now, we had kind of a snafu with this, which you will potentially see here on camera in a little bit. Paint, white paint, and a nosy kitten. Not a good combination, people. I think you will actually see what she does right on camera in a little bit. It was a little bit distressing as I cleaned up paw prints off the floor and off my scrapbook table. So now I'm layering these up. I'm just kind of trying to mimic a rainbow order if I can, and this does pretty well. I didn't do any measuring other than measuring the strips that you saw. So they're just going to kind of lay on here as close to even as possible. You could measure this out if you wanted. I'm kind of a do it by the seat of my pants kind of girl, so that's what I did here. And I am just going to glue each one of these down with my ATG and just hope that it looks decent when I'm done. I think I do at the end of the video, or after I turn off the camera, I do have to go in and glue down some of the ends, because once I get paint on here, it kind of makes a mess. Now, my forgery is not exactly like the original. My letters that I'm going to use, I'm using some very old Making Memories foam alphabet stamps. The letters are not as big as the ones on the original paper, and that's unfortunate. What I should have done is centered it better than this when I was stamping, and I didn't do a great job with that part, but I do love how this came out, and it's a close enough feature for me. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp right onto this background, and that will get quite a bit of that white paint off. Like I said, these letters weren't as big as the letters on the original paper. There's Penny trying to get my paintbrush. I move it, and then of course realize I didn't get that full R stamped, and I just stamped over again. Those are pretty easy to re-stamp versus some other stamps, and since I'm using paint and foam stamps, it's not as big of a deal. I think that's where she stuck her paw in, right there. She stuck her paw in, and I have to pause the camera when I get done with this part because the little stinker ran across my table. This table is 4 foot by 10 foot. She ran across it diagonally, black tabletop, across papers, across everything, got paint on that one paw, jumped down on the floor, got paint all over the floor, and ran underneath the bed. I have no earthly idea if the little stinker got paint underneath the bed or not. All right, so this is one of my absolute favorite background stamps if you're wanting kind of a grungy look. I dropped this stamp right on my page a couple of times. Don't do that at home, guys. Make sure you have a better grip. I was still trying to watch for Penny to come back because she just wanted that paint so bad. This isn't perfect. The original paper had grid lines on it. This has grid and some other grunge and some hexagons and stuff like that going on. And it's just going to be close enough for me. I am using this little mat, and you might be wondering why I didn't put the paint directly on top of my glass mat. You can do that, and I have done that, but because I knew that this was going to dry on the surface, and I wanted to be able to clean it up easily, I used this sticky mat from Tim Holtz. I didn't take it off the backing though. I never do. I don't like that. I guess I could try it on the glass mat sometime, but I really think Glassboard Studio should make something like this for us to move and to put on our glass mats and move around. So I'm just kind of stamping randomly at this point, trying to get stamps everywhere. I'm taking it off here, and I'm gonna just kind of use my hands to stamp where I didn't get the white paint before. Again, this isn't a perfect paper, but I do like how it turned out, and I think it's grungy, and I think it's fun, and I can't wait to actually use this in a layout this month. I do really like this a lot. All right, this next piece of paper is in the top row, the very first one on the left. That's the one that I am counterfeiting now. You see that little blob of paint? That's a paw print. So again, these papers came from the Vicki Boutin Print Shop paper pad. I am taking all of the colors and I'm cutting 3 1/4" by 12" strips of paper to mimic the paper from the inspiration kit. Can anybody say crazy? Yep, crazy. It was a lot of work, and I think I do all of the cutting here, but I don't do all of the gluing on camera. I decide that this video is getting super long, and so I cut out part of it because I just think it's too much, and I'm gonna just cut out, like I said, it's 3 of each color. I think I ended up with 39 strips, and I did not use all of them, or maybe I ended up with 42 strips, and I did not end up using all of them. I was just kind of guessing how many I needed to put on my paper because, you know, 12" piece of paper, there's like, what, 48 1/4" spaces on there, but I'm leaving a gap between them. It's not supposed to be even. These are not all even, and that's perfectly fine because if you look really closely at the original paper, you're gonna see that it is also not even. It's wonky and grungy and kind of fun. The whole kit has a great mixed media vibe, and I love mixed media, so I thought that was going to be a fun thing to do. So again, my colors in my kit don't match the inspiration kit perfectly. They're only just close enough. I kind of spent more time trying to match the papers that I put in my kit versus the original kit. I had a paper from Spectrum Gardenia that I really loved, and it matched really well with the inspiration kit, but I pulled a couple of other papers in, and I used the color palette from that more. So there I have a blog post, and I even have a video of my kit on my channel if you want to go and look at my entire kit. And I think I discuss these scraps here. These all end up scraps, and I put them in my kit with the hope that I will use up all of these scraps from Print Shop and not put them back in the collection with the rest of them. But I thought they would be great pieces to have for matting, or maybe to use dyes or something with throughout the month. We'll see. I have no particular plans just yet. I'm just kind of winging it here. So I've got almost all of the papers done, and I realize I need some red and some yellow, so I pull red, yellow, and orange from my scrap bin. My scrap bin is a black milk crate with folders in it for each color, and it's underneath my desk. It's kind of to the right of where I sit when I record, and it's to the left where I sit just scrapbook if I'm scrapbooking and not recording. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and kind of sort these into a little bit of piles that make sense. If I was not on camera, I would have spread these out a lot easier, but because I'm on camera, I need to make room so that I can work, so that you all can see what I'm doing. And there's my orange, and again, the red was a scrap pattern paper. I have not cut the yellow just yet. I don't know if I actually do that on camera or not. I may have done that after I turned everything off. When I was gluing things down, I realized that I still needed a yellow in there and a few less blues, and so that may not have been captured, but you'll see the full sheet at the end of the video when I'm finished with it. So here is me just kind of trying to organize all of the colors, trying to make some sense of this, and hopefully I can get these done. Now the original paper, the red goes on the bottom, and it ends with purple at the top, going in a rainbow-ish order, and that is what I'm going to do as well. Theirs looks like they have some white grunge on it, and I'm going to do that with a stencil, and then dry brushing some white acrylic paint on towards the end. So hopefully you'll stay tuned to watch this whole process here. But I'm going to glue a couple pieces down, and then I'm going to cut away to the stenciling part, because I really think that you don't need to watch me fuss with gluing all of this down. I'm going to glue, like I said, starting at the bottom with the red, and I'm going to glue a couple of those down. I'm just going to go in rainbow order all the way up, ending in that purple. All right, now I'm going to use this stencil. This is a favorite stencil of mine, and it is well used. It is stained. It's got paint and ink that will not come off of it. And I'm using it as a paint palette too for my white paint. This is a Vicki Boutin acrylic paint. I love it. It's a very thick paint, which makes it really fun to push through stencils like that. I'm sure that's why she created it so thick, or had the company create it so thick, is so that it could be used with her gel plates and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'm going to be pushing it through this stencil with my foam brush. I prefer to use a foam brush with acrylic paint. I know some people use a regular brush. I absolutely prefer the foam brush. This does take a little bit of time though, so be patient as I work through this stencil. All right, once I get all the paint on there I think I'm going to use, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do some dry brushing. And it does kind of get messy and grungy, and I actually really loved playing with this today. It was a lot of fun, minus the kitty cat mishap that we had. I think she'll forgive me for allowing her to put her paws in paint. I hope that you guys have a great day. Bye.